Let's try that again. I didn't realize I still had my microphone muted. Good morning, folks. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well this morning. Oh gosh, there we go. JTW coming at you with another FOMO live stream here Thursday morning, October 10th. Let me get over to my ES chart. That's where we generally like to start the day, right, folks? All right, let's get our economic calendar pulled up. We did have some data this morning. Let's clear that. Let's go to the US. There we go. All right, so let's see what our inflation numbers came in at. Core inflation month over month. A little bit above the consensus, 0.3%. That was the previous reading. Consensus was we would see a slightly lower reading at 0.2%. That obviously did not wind up being the case. So slightly higher there on the month over month. Year over year expectation was about 3.2%. That came in at 3.3%. And inflation rate month over month came in at 0.2. Consensus was that would come in slightly lower at 0.1. And then same thing with the inflation rate year over year. So pretty much everything 0.1% higher than expectations. CPI came in a little bit higher as well. So not surprised we're seeing a little bit of a dip on that data, given that, again, it is slightly higher than what the expectations were, even though it's in line with what the previous readings were. Expectations were we would continue to see inflation pull back some, and the numbers this morning just aren't bearing that out exactly. So, not terrible numbers, but not the I think continued reduction or continued tempering of inflation that I think the market has generally, or is currently, I should say, looking for. So that's okay. That happens. We'll continue to keep an eye on these data points as they come out. Talking about the markets from a chart perspective, though, we saw some really strong moves yesterday in the market. Not only that, but we've been talking about this supply zone. What's up, Unknown Reviews? Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Please, if you're joined us this morning, I know a couple minutes in, folks are kind of just now starting to filter in. So whenever you pull up to the show, please feel free to say good morning. Hope you're doing well. So looking at things from an ES perspective, we've been watching this supply zone overhead. We've clearly invalidated the supply zone. So I left it on here just so we could take it off together. And another thing that I'm noticing is we're now finding some support at what was our previous all-time highs on ES. So this looks like it could be stacking up for another leg up, especially if we can break through this 58.44.50 level that we've topped out at here this morning. I think over that, again, I've got fib extensions that take us quite a bit higher, over 58.44, at least the... Ooh, excuse me, that yawn came out of nowhere. Let me get this coffee in. There we go. Over 58.44, my next extension overhead is a little ways away, and these have been in place for quite a while, so we still haven't seen any of these really bear out over this level. So things are looking like they're setting up for more upside, in my opinion. I could certainly see some buy the dip opportunities off of 5,800 if we see any kind of a pullback to that range. And then again, over 58.44, where we're kind of topping out here this morning, I would expect that would open up. No screen sharing? Oh, sorry. Thanks, Unknown Reviews. Or not Unknown Reviews, Navy Plum. Sorry, I'm going back and forth between Discord and YouTube here. There we go. Sorry about that. So I'll just talk about this again real briefly, since I did forget to turn my screen sharing on for the Discord side of things. My apologies, folks. Again, we took out this supply zone that we had overhead. Let's see if I can put that back on the chart pretty easily right there. So we've cleared that out. We're now, again, looks like we're back testing and so far holding this previous all-time high resistance as an area of support now. Again, 5,800 looks like it could be a good level to watch for buying the dip at this point. And then over 58.44, I think we open up more upside and allows the market to head even higher up toward 58.82. So we finally got that breakout, that flip. We've gotten out of the range, and it looks like we are back testing and holding the top, what was the top of that range, as support. So it could be the bottom of our next range and move up. So keep all of that on watch as we continue to head toward the election, which is less than 30 days away now. So things are going to continue to get pretty interesting with regards to polling and how all this stuff is going to affect the markets and what the expectations are going to be for the next 4 years. So keep your heads on a swivel. I know we probably say that all the time these days, but that is true now more than ever. So with that being said, let's get into some trade plan reviews, and then we'll get to some new trade plans this morning. For those of you who are new to this, feel free to, in the chat sections, whether you are on the YouTube side of things or if you're on Discord, go ahead, start dropping ticker requests in those chat areas. I'm happy to take those ticker requests and turn those into trade plans that we can take some action on. Unknown reviews here bright and early as always, looking for JPM, so we will do JPM today. But let's get to our trade plan reviews. We'll start with NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been building a really nice base around this 131.50 level. We're testing it here pre-market, so keep this on watch. If this continues to hold going into the market open, I would certainly look to buy the dip off this level. You could keep a stop loss around this 130.71 level if you use 131.50 to buy the dip. What's up, Chris? Good morning to you, brother. How are you? Hope you're doing well. So like I said, 131.50 looks like a pretty strong base that we've built up yesterday and pre-market this morning. So if that holds, certainly would look to buy the dip going into the open here on NVIDIA. I would keep a tight stop on it though at 130.71. That would lose the 200 SMA here on the 15-minute and could potentially, it looks like, give us a bigger pullback, probably down to potentially 129.03. So looking for 131.50 to hold here this morning on NVIDIA. But with regards to our trade plan, I know we already talked about this Tuesday, but all targets hit. Nice back test to PT1 there. So if you missed that run, you could have potentially swung some on this back test of PT1 as support. And then taking it for the next several legs up. And again, now we are holding or trying to hold this 131.50 level as support going into the open. So keep that on watch for a potential buy the dip opportunity. Lunar, what a dump from 8 to 7. Yeah, Lunar's been doing all kinds of weird things, man. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We'll take a look at it because I don't currently have it on my list of tickers that we're going to go through, but we will take a look at Lunar as well. And of course, like I said, if you guys have ticker requests for additional trade plans that you want me to work on this morning, please start dropping those in the chats. That way we've got plenty of time to get through as many of those as possible. AMD, this was another one. Member selected trade plans from Sunday. Gave us the breakout. A couple of breakout opportunities, actually. There Tuesday after we reviewed this one going into the trading day. Has dipped down near the stop loss average down here at 169.66. So one of our key levels that continues to hold, held on Tuesday, held yesterday on that drop down from PT1. So we broke out, got to PT1, hard rejection down to the stop loss average down, and that continues to hold as support. Could certainly see an interesting buy the dip opportunity if we see another test and get some support there again today. Especially with this 333 SMA catching up with that 169.66 level. So keep this on watch for potential buy the dip opportunity. And also we're in the range of this trade plan, continuing to kind of make moves within our range and toward our targets. So yeah, keep AMD on watch. It's looking pretty solid. Again, as long as it's holding 169.66, I would be looking for upside buy the dip opportunities. Below that, things could pull back, and I would say below 168.55 is really where deeper pullbacks become a potential. So below 168.55, probably look at puts, buy the dip down to 169.66. You guys can handle the rest from there, I'm sure. Tesla, this one has been playing out to the downside. It's played out to the downside a few times. Once we got the breakdown below our put entry, we got down to PT1 once, came back tested in this kind of sell range, and then More specifically, tested that stop loss average down there yesterday at 247.14. That was a hard rejection back down to PT1 for puts. That's kind of what we would expect to see since we are on the put side of this plan at the moment. So as long as we're below this sell range between 247.14 and 244.36, again, expect more downside. And here we see again pre-market rejection off the put entry down to PT1 there at 241.17. So Tesla looking a bit bearish, while semiconductors overall have been looking bullish, and possibly breaking down below 241.17. In which case, if that happens, I would be looking for it to come down and test this 238.06 PT2 from our plan for Tesla. So keep this on watch. Tesla with a bearish lean at the moment. Yeah, we can take a look at Hood. I haven't looked at Hood in forever, so we can take a look at that. And then, of course, our trade plans that we did on Tuesday's live stream. Palantir was on the list. Excuse me, was on the list there. We got the break over the call entry here at 40.93. Tuesday, after we did this trade plan, that continued up Wednesday to hitting PT1, and here we see tapping PT1 again pre-market, so solid resistance there at 43.31 as it continues to reject and struggle getting back over that 43.31 level. So PT1 hit, good stuff there. Again, make sure that you guys are taking profit when these targets hit and that you're moving your stops up. At Palantir gave us kind of the preview there going into the close Tuesday. So you would have swung that into Wednesday, and then boom, right out of the gate Wednesday, straight up to PT1. And PT1 has been solid resistance so far. So the levels that we've used for this particular plan, highly accurate and effective, which is what we always aim for here on the Xtrades FOMO live streams. All right, last but not least, Wells Fargo, and this one is kind of a nothing to see here so far. Hasn't seen a confirmed break below 57.10 at all yet. So continue to keep this one on watch. The trade plan was posted in the watch lists for our Discord. It's also available if you go and look at the recording from Tuesday. You'll see the Wells Fargo plan, and I think you can even probably pull up the old links, but I'll go ahead and repost it just to make things a little bit easier for everybody. Nope, that's not the link. Why did that not pull my... Let's try this again. There we go. There's the link right there for this trade plan chart if you guys need it to refer back to. But so far, nothing has happened yet here on Wells Fargo. So let's get. No, I think Chris, I had actually just screwed up. I hadn't started the screen sharing. Well, I started talking before I shared the screen, so he was right. He called me out appropriately and helped me out to let me know that I was slipping this morning. So yeah, no, thanks for that. I think we're all good to go. You guys should be able to see the screen now in Discord as well. All right, so let's get to our trade plans for this morning. Unknown reviews here right out of the gate, as always, looking for JPM. So let's take a look at JP Morgan Chase, and let's see how we want to trade plan this one. It's been a while since I've looked at JPM. Let's see. Yeah, September. Gosh, I don't feel like I've looked at it that recently. We just did that one quick upside potential trade plan, I guess. All right, let's clean up these drawings. Definitely going to need to do a little bit of work on JPM to get our bearings, but that's okay. It's a part of the process. Let's just clean all this stuff up real quick. Man, I got all kinds of old drawings on here that we're not going to need or use for our planning this morning. That looks pretty good. I need to organize this object tree. Okay. There we go. Let's dig in. And just for a moment, which well, all that stuff that I went through and deleted was like old like long short positions or trend lines, which if I'm not currently tracking them, I know they're probably not any good, and I can replace those. I didn't delete any horizontal lines. What I do use this object tree for, though, is to select all those levels all at once and then kind of quickly get everything back to being dotted in 2 pixel, which is sort of my default for my support and resistance levels as I'm drawing them. And then, as you guys know, if we're setting something as a potential entry, we're going to make it a 3 pixel solid line. If we're looking at something for a price target, 2 pixel dash line, and then of course if we're looking at a stop loss average down, 4 pixel dotted line. So kind of just some tips on how I use the line properties in TradingView to my advantage to make things kind of easier to see and read sort of at a glance. So put that in the JTW TradingView tips and tricks. Hey, if you ever want to get together and just go through some TradingView stuff, man, just let me know. We'll do a Zoom session. Happy to help you out, buddy. All right, so let's hide that. Or, if you want to, we could do a, let me know what you want to do, Chris, but we could certainly make that like just like a stream one day, probably like on a Saturday or Sunday or something like that. If you want to kind of get a gauge on interest and what date would work. Yeah, I've done one. I don't know where it is. I did like top 10 like TradingView tips and tricks you should know about, but I could certainly update that. That thing's super old the last time I did one. So yeah, that's a good idea as well. All right, so let's get into JPM. Let's see what we want to do with this one. I'm just trying to get my bearings on it. Yeah, I think we've still got it somewhere, Chris, but again, it's probably pretty, those tips and tricks are still valid. They still work, but there's some new stuff, and like I've started using this object tree a lot more in TradingView. So there's definitely some things I could add or expand or update with that TradingView tips and tricks video I did previously. All right, so trying to get my bearings here on JPM. I think we do have a 4-hour level here that I don't currently have on my chart. I would probably post it to the Xtrades YouTube for sure, and then repost the video link, for the hosting purposes, and then repost that video link into the Discord so folks could access it there as well. But I also kind of like the idea of doing something like, I don't know, I'd like to do something live where I just kind of field questions maybe and kind of talk through general stuff. Obviously that would be sort of on a less of a time crunch, outside of market hours, maybe in an evening or on a weekend during the day, just depending on what the interest would be and of course my availability. My calendar is always nuts. All right. So let me finish kind of getting I'm already liking a break over this 213.89. I see a lot of upside opportunity that opens up above it. We're clearly rejecting that here this morning. The question is, over that, where do we kind of have room to move up to? Yeah, I think that could make a move up to 216.50 would be my first target. I think we've got a stop loss average down here at 211.51. Looks like it gives us probably slightly better than a one-to-one risk reward setup, but does kind of meet the minimum requirement for it to be, actionable and a, trade plan worth putting some funds into. Sorry, I think my sinuses are just acting a little crazy this morning. So my apologies if I'm sound a little nasally or if I'm, you hear me kind of struggling with that. My apologies. Second price target up here, 219.19. Third target, there is a level here. I don't think it needs to be a price target, but I do want to have it on my chart since I don't already. Did get a little bit of a print higher, but I think the more solid, more confirmed level where we probably top out on another upside move unless it goes for, I think, essentially a test of all-time highs. Would be 222.02 for the third price target to the upside. So I like that upside trade plan. I think we're good to go there. We have a previous, I think what was a previous all-time high here at 209.87. But the downside doesn't really open up. And so this is kind of what I'm looking at, right? I see, you know, some moves down below 209.87, right? But if we do get a move down below that, some of those moves are getting bought up pretty quickly, just a little bit lower there at 208.81, right? Like this example here, this example here. However, below 208.81, I don't see a lot of stuff getting bought up again until we at least move down to 207.07. So I think that gives us a little window of opportunity that we can use to start this downside trade plan. Question becomes, though, do we have a reasonable stop loss that we can put in place that keeps our risk reward on the even or preferably plus side in our favor? Let's take a look here. I think the stop loss for this, if we use this current setup, no, it could be a little bit lower, actually. I take that back. I was looking a little bit higher. Yeah, I could see it being right here at 210.33, actually. I think that gives us a decent setup from a risk-reward standpoint. Should be a little bit better than 1-to-1. Second target to the downside. This is interesting price action right here, just above this level. I think this level, I might just have it a little bit low, to be honest. Looks like it really sits more like right there. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks better. Whoops. Well, I can do it here too. Dash line, that's our second price target. Third target, we definitely bottomed out off this previous gap level. So it's kind of a tight PT 2-3. But that is definitely where I would kind of finish taking my profit on puts, just above that existing 4-hour level there at 203.94, so at 204.37. So this is what the trade plans look like. Let's go ahead and drop. Oh, before I do that, let me verify all this with my indicators, make sure I'm not missing any confluences, or maybe we even get some confirmation here. Hourly looks pretty solid with where we've got everything. 4-hour, little potential for getting caught in a false breakout just above 213.89, but not a lot. I think if we get another break over that, we will probably roll this flag over. Yeah, hourly looks good, and I don't expect 15-minute to really change much. Yeah, if anything confirms that below 208.81, we lose all indicator support, including the SMAs, and would open up more room to the downside. So if anything, a little bit of confirmation there on the 15-minute. All right, so let's take a look at these JP Morgan trade plans. There's one. Here's the other. All right, so there we go. That should be pretty easy to see. And this is the JPM live stream plan. When's the supposed robo-taxi event, Kronos? I wasn't looking at that. I was just looking at the chart, so I was not factoring in any kind of like potential catalysts or anything. When is the? I mean, are they gonna? I feel like they've announced the robo-taxi reveal. I don't know how many times, and it like never really comes to fruition. I feel like, but maybe this could be it though. This could be the time where it's actually revealed. But when is that supposed to happen? It's okay if you call me out, maybe if I'm sitting here talking and you guys don't see my screen, tell me about it because I'm off. Oh, it's today. Yeah, I mean that could be a bullish catalyst. The chart looks quite bearish. I mean, it's very volatile right now. Continues to find support off this PT1 as we see here this morning pre-market. This was a gap that has since filled. Should also make note of that. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly potential for that to be bullish. It could also be a sell the news event, right? So it's very hard to tell going into those catalysts, and it would pretty much, I think, for it to be a bullish event, what I would personally want to see as a potential Tesla investor to start throwing money at Tesla hand over fist would be, yes, we've got robo-taxis figured out, full self-driving's ready to go. I mean, you have to have that for the robo-taxi to work. And here's here's a clear timeline on when all that will be ready and available. I think that's what would have to come out in that event. If it's, here's what our progress is, and here's how things are going, and here's, one day what we think the robo-taxi will do. I think that'll be a letdown, right? I mean, full self-driving has been a Tesla promise for, I don't know how many years now, and it's still not come to fruition, right? So I think that's the thing that, is going to really cause investors to swoon with regards to Tesla. So, just my 2 cents on it. It could go either way on the robo-taxi event. It could certainly be bullish if there's some really strong data and developments in that regard and some clear timelines on things. If there's still a lot of uncertainty around it, market hates uncertainty, it could certainly be a sell the news event. So yeah, Tesla definitely one to keep on watch. Do you know what time that's supposed to be, Kronos? So I can at least share that with folks and let them know about it. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, though. I was not tracking that robo-taxi event. All right, so let's do a quick run through on our JP Morgan plans, and then let's get to the next plan. So JP Morgan, what are we looking for? We're looking for a break over 213.89. That should give us targets at 216.50, 219.19, and 222.02 with a stop loss average down at 211.51. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 208.81. That should give us targets at 207.07, 205.35, and 204.37 with a stop loss average down for the downside trade plan at 210.33. Those are your upside and downside JPM trade plans. Go get them. Hope that works for you. Unknown reviews. Tesla robo-taxi event called We Robot scheduled for today at 7 p.m. Pacific time, so that's 10 p.m. Eastern. Will be held at the Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, Cali. Live stream on X, if they can get any technology to work at X. And possibly YouTube. Okay, that's super helpful information, Kronos. I really appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I was not tracking it on top of that. So obviously not a catalyst to affect us today. In fact, I would say that's almost okay. So here's a thought on this, right? This will probably be an earnings report level event. That being said, I don't believe that the options chain, and I'm not looking at it right now, but I would be surprised, I should say, if the options chain is pricing that in from an implied volatility the way it would an earnings report. So that all being said, this could be an opportunity to catch a big catalyst on Tesla without having to worry quite so much about IV crush. But you still have to be right on the direction. And it's certainly a coin toss as far as whether or not this event this evening sends Tesla to the moon or to the gulag on a sell the news type of a moment. So yeah, could go either way. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. Folks, be aware of that, especially if you're swinging contracts. There is a major catalyst taking place tonight on Tesla. All right, so let's go through what other ticker requests do we have. That's right, Chris came in with Hood. It's all good in the Hood, although Hood, not my favorite brokerage, not one of my favorite companies, especially after what they did to their user base back in the AMC, GME, meme stock mania, the original Roaring Kitty moment, where they essentially weren't allowing people to buy stuff because short sellers were getting their teeth kicked in. Very, very shady brokerage, very, very shady business practices there, in my opinion. So I personally, I was already kind of against Robinhood at that point. I didn't like their platform. Their fills were terrible. I thought it was kind of a real sort of bait and switch on the users as far as trying to convince people that they were getting free options trading, which, you know, technically there wasn't a fee attached to it, but man, it wasn't free as far as how those fills were working out for people. So keep all that in mind with regards to Robinhood. Not one of my favorite companies, but good ticker to trade nonetheless. So, and clearly I have not done much charting on it up in this range. So Robinhood, for what it put it in the for what it's worth category, has certainly put together quite the comeback here as of late, and has broken out of this range that it was kind of bottled up in below 17.18 and flipped it to support. So, you know, positive signs for the stock price. Again, personally, not a fan of Robinhood or its business practices, but that is my own bias. Don't let that influence you, and it certainly has nothing to do with us being able to execute a solid trade plan on Robinhood. So, that being said, let's get to it. I do need to kind of track down some of these more important higher time frame levels, since I have not looked at many of these recently, or really kind of ever, above that range I was looking at previously. So that is definitely an interesting level on the daily chart. Same thing here. That's a former base right after it IPO'd. I think there's something, actually, yeah, there is something right about here. So, and we're not going to need anything going up that high at this point. So let's continue to push through some of these time frames. Going to try to possibly get through this with enough time to do a third trade plan. We will see, though. Time is of the essence. Come on, give me some price action. There we go. All right. This could be a level, but not confirmed yet. That is a good 4-hour level. Maybe, big maybe, something here. I'm not too. In fact, I'm going to change the color of that because I'm even more skeptical of that level. Yeah, we don't have any older price action that gives us any further insights there. Nothing else that we can really see through that range. Let's check down in here. This is a potential level as well. Feel a little bit better about that one than this one above overhead, though. I definitely have a level there. Okay. So let's see how this starts to stack up on the hourly. I want to go check through these kind of placeholder levels that we put in real quick. See if that shows much else, or if we can get any kind of more clarity. and where this level actually needs to be. Yeah, there's another level here. So it's right about there. Let's check this 25.77 on the older price action. And by the way, I think there's two levels here. Sorry. They're just kind of right there side by side, but that can happen. Kind of a little area of uncertainty that we would play either totally above or totally below. So let's see. Not really given the confirmation I'd want to see there at that 25.77. And yeah, we haven't really had any other tests of that area, so. Come on, get me back to the price action, bro. What the? So that's what we're running up against here pre-market. So the question is it a good entry? Let's get back to that real quick. Sorry, I know I'm kind of zipping around all over the place here. I think actually what we need to do with these levels, starting to kind of take shape here. I think we're waiting for a break over 26.56. Then we flip this current resistance potential level here at 25.77 to being our stop loss average down. That gives us the first price target up here at 27.55. Yeah, we do have a level right here. $28.34. Then this $29.25 that was a very speculative level. I wasn't totally convinced about it. If it's anywhere, it's right here at $29.18. And it would be, I think, a pretty decent third price target to watch. So that would be the upside trade plan on Robinhood. And I think that all looks pretty solid. Downside, where does that start to get interesting? Interesting rejection, flip to support here recently. I have a pretty good feeling that's going to wind up confirming as our put entry. But let's make sure. Let's not call it before we can see it for sure. Also, and I think this is pretty close to the price level that I was looking at with the more recent price action to probably be our stop loss average down. I think I just got confirmation on that right there, but we'll see in a second. Yeah, I also still like that 24.17 for the downside entry. So let's check this more recent price action, see if that puts that level. I was going to put it slightly higher, actually. Let's see if that, yeah, there is a wick that comes up just that little bit higher. So it could sit kind of pretty close, kind of thread the needle there. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's about what I was thinking based on the recent price action anyway. So that looks good. Let's see, price targets for the downside. Definitely have a level right about here that I don't have on my chart yet, but we'll add it. So we've got it for our price target. First PT to the downside there. Second downside target. Could be 22.41 or 22.12. Could certainly make a case for either. As you all know, when in doubt or when I have two levels that are that close together and either could sort of work as a price target, I'm going to shoot for the level that's a little bit more conservative, a little closer to the price action. So between 22.41 and 22.12, if we're talking about downside, I'm going to err on the side of caution and go with 22.41. And then third price target to the downside, 21.52. So I think we've got some solid plans here on Robinhood. And it certainly has some interest in action at the moment. So good pick, Chris. Was there anything else that I know you kind of do a good job of thinking about sort of, okay, what's around the corner? Like, one of your more recent ones where I was like, man, that's a really smart idea to be looking at that ticker was DraftKings. As the football season was getting ready to start up, you were calling out, hey, we should probably be watching DraftKings, and you were absolutely right about that. So is there anything in particular that has your eye on Hood at the moment? Just out of curiosity. All right, here are the Hood live stream plans. Let's get to these. Hey, what's up, Strife? Good morning. Good to see you. I feel like I haven't heard from you in a little while. Hope you're doing well. Awesome to hear from you and see you here. And then last but not least, get this posted in the options watch list in our Discord. All right, so what are we looking for here on Robinhood? We're looking for a break over 26.56. That should give us targets at 27.55, 28.34, and 29.18 with a stop loss average down at 25.77. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 24.17. That should give us targets at 23.14, 22.41, and 21.52 with a stop loss average down at 24.93. Those are your Hood trade plans. Yeah, we've missed you for sure, Strife. I'm very happy to see you. Happy you're here. Look forward to getting some ticker requests from you on the next one because we have kind of run out of time here this morning. It's definitely been a really strong recovery, Chris, on Hood for sure. Let's see, Kronos, how far out would you buy a call? That's a great question. I would probably give it bare minimum 60 days on any contract that you're going to buy. That should, at the very least, if the catalyst this evening with the robo-taxi event doesn't go your direction, it would leave you time to try to, recover and salvage the trade. Just as we always say here, make sure you've got a good plan going into it. That would be my thoughts on contracts that you would pick up for this Tesla catalyst this evening. So with that being said, we're getting pretty close to being 15 minutes out from market open. I need at least that much time to put together the daily SPY plan for our, scale in also for sure. Yeah, start small with it being a catalyst. If it goes your favor, there's nothing wrong with averaging up. I do that often. A lot of the best traders I know average up. Scale in, start small, give yourself plenty of time because there is a catalyst this evening that could greatly help your position or greatly hurt your position, depending on how it plays out. Great point there, Chris. I'm glad you said that. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the FOMO live stream for Thursday, October 10th. We will be back next Tuesday. I know you don't currently see that on the YouTube schedule. I'll get that, those kind of next batch of live streams put on the calendar there for you guys so you can keep track of those. But if I'm around, we'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday as long as the market's open. So with that being said, again, I want to thank you all for joining me this morning. I hope everybody has a great day and a fantastic close to your week. Enjoy your weekend. Use that time to recoup and re-energize yourself. Reset yourself mentally. Get ready to come back in strong next week. And as we always say on the FOMO live streams, plan your trades, trade your plans. Have a fantastic day. Keep your wins big, keep your losses small. I will see you guys in the chats. Go out there and get some green. Take care. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day.